Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today I'm going to be talking about Inkheart by Cornolia Funke. I think I'm saying her last name right. And it is book 1 in the Ink World series. So this is one of the books that I read for Booktubeathon this year, and oh my god, it was a fun-filled ride of nostalgia for me. I remember back in 7th or 8th grade, as me and my mom were wandering, I think it was Barnes & Noble, she found this book, and she noticed that the main character's name was Meggie, and my name is Megan. Now, I hate being called Meggie, just FYI. And this is one of the few books that my mom has stumbled across with a main character with a name similar to mine, which is funny since Megan is a pretty common name. But that's what drew her eye, and when she learned that the main character Meggie loved to read and there was a lot of book loving in this book, she knew I needed to get it. So she grabbed it for me, showed it to me, and little 13, 14-year-old Megan is like, heck yes, I want it. And that's how I was introduced to it. So, like I said, our main character Meggie has grown up loving books, has grown up surrounded by books. Her father Mo actually repairs damaged books. It's just her and her dad living together, things are going normal, and then one night, in the middle of the night, this strange man shows up. A man with a very strange name, Dustfinger. And he and Mo start talking about things that make no sense to Meggie, and we come to find out that Meggie's father has this unusual gift. When he reads aloud from a book, he can read things out of books. He has no control over this ability, and when something is read out of a book, something from our world has to go into the book. And unfortunately, one horrible night when he was reading aloud with his loving wife, Meggie's mother, he reads 3 men out of a book. And 2 of these men are horrible, horrible people. They are some of the villains in this book, and the other man is Dustfinger. And unfortunately, Mo had read his wife as well as their 2 cats into the book. And what is this book called? It's called Inkheart. And I don't know, I just found it really interesting how the name of this very important book in the book is the same title. I don't know, just when I was younger I found that endlessly amusing, and now as an adult I still find it amusing. So for like 9 years or so, these 3 men from this book have been wandering our world. Dustfinger wants nothing more than to return home. He does not like our world, it's too loud, it's too busy, and he just wants to go home. Our 2 villains, on the other hand, want nothing more than to stay. They love our world. They think it's lovely, they think it's useful, and they are wreaking havoc. And they want Mo, because his ability to read things out of a book is very useful. They could get anything they want. An assortment of fun monsters to terrorize people with, gold, money, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to say too much more. So yes, I really enjoyed rereading this. I think I enjoyed it just as much as when I first picked it up years upon years ago, and I am so excited to keep on reading. I have the other 2 books somewhere downstairs in my book boxes, so I'm excited for when I'll be able to get to it. And I think this book is so underappreciated here on BookTube. I know it's an older release. I think this came out in 2003-ish. But yeah, it's been out a while. And it is something that I do recommend people to read. It's a fun read. It's a bit thick, but it is fun. It's entertaining. And just the whole premise of it was interesting to me. Alright, so I'm gonna go into spoilers now, so if you have not read this book, I highly, highly, highly suggest you do so. Just give it a shot, it's fun. So where to begin? The characters. I think I'm gonna talk more about, not side characters, but not our main character, Meggie and Mo. I consider them more of our main characters than everyone else. Despite the fact that all the other little side characters get a lot of book time. I don't know why, just that's how I classify them. Dustfinger. Oh my goodness, Dustfinger. I don't know how to put how I feel about him into words. Like, I think out of all the characters, he is the most believable, for lack of better words. Like, this poor guy has been dragged out of his home into this crazy world that he is confused and overwhelmed by, and he just wants nothing to do with. He wants to go home to his world. And after so many times of begging Mo to send him back, which Mo can't, because Mo can't control things, and after losing his wife, Risa, he doesn't want to risk sending anyone else into this book. Because what happens if he accidentally sends Meggie into the book instead of Dustfinger? What happens if he sends some random Joe Schmo on the street instead of Dustfinger? And Dustfinger just can't accept this, which is understandable. It's like, he just wants to go home. And this need to go home has turned so bad that he is siding with his enemies to kidnap Mo because Capricorn promised that he would get read back in. And this is something that he's been wanting for years. Naturally, he's gonna take it and do what is needed to make it happen. I don't know, I think when I was younger, I kind of didn't like that about him, how he flip-flopped sides so easily. And it gave me some serious trust issues with him as a kid. But now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I can see myself maybe doing something similar if I was desperate enough. I feel his reactions are very human, which as an adult, I can appreciate it so much more. And it just added to his character. He has this selfishness about him, but at the same time, he does have a big heart. He does care in his own way about people. If I'm making it all sense, I don't know. Either way, I love Dustfinger's character. Farid, I think I'm saying his name right, is a precious cinnamon roll. Just, he was adorable, for lack of better words, especially when he was trying to become Dustfinger's apprentice, wanted to learn how to do fire tricks and all that. Just, it was adorable, and just, I love Farid. I even enjoyed Eleanor's character, just how much of a spitfire she was, even with, like, threats of violence hanging over her. She still had this sparky attitude, despite being an older woman, and just, I love Eleanor. She's kind of like a weird, eccentric, bookish aunt I wish I had. And frankly, I can see myself becoming somewhat like her in my later years. Maybe not as obsessive with protecting my books. Like, I probably wouldn't go to that extent, or the extensive expenses she put towards buying books. I can see myself having her love for books, even when I'm older, and just, yeah. Our lovely villains, the Firestarters. Capricorn I thought was an interesting villain. At points a little cliche, same with Basta, Flat Nose and all of them, but, you know, still enjoyable. I want to say this was originally meant for like middle grade, but I'm not 100% sure. I suck at classifying books. So, you know, for that kind of age range, if it is supposed to be middle grade, makes sense. And just the somewhat cheesiness of some of them didn't bother me too much. In fact, there are some points when they were pretty intimidating. The author, I'm probably gonna mispronounce his name, Fengolio? That's how I've always read it anyway. I don't know about him, but the first thing that came to mind is if I found out that some of my book characters came to life, especially the bad guys, I would be kind of terrified. I wouldn't just be kind of terrified, I would be terrified. Even my non-bad guy characters I'd be terrified of, just because some of the crap that I put them through while writing. I'd be terrified if I found out that they were alive, because they'd probably be coming after me with pitchforks and torches. So yeah, I would not be excited if I found out. Oh hey, so yeah, you know the characters from that book you wrote? They're alive. Yeah, I'd be investing in a homemade bomb shelter. A little panic room. So, I don't want to go too much into the plots because I don't know where to begin. I will admit that some parts of this book felt like they could have been shortened or cut out, because just upon, like, mentally thinking out the major steps that happen, I feel it shouldn't be as long as it is. But then when I'm reading, I'm like, okay, I see why this is so long now. Like, I do believe some steps could have been cut out. But at the same time, I think the book is great how it is, too. I really felt so bad for Dustfinger by the end of this book. Just everything that happens. He still can't get into his book. He learns that he dies at the end of the book, but he still wants to return. And to find out that the author, Fingolio, was read into the damn book instead of him. I just felt so bad. Because here's this guy who doesn't belong. Yeah, he made the world, but he doesn't belong in it. And he gets read in, while Dustfinger does not. And just the feelings he had for Risa that can't be returned because she's married and she still loves Mo. Though it did make my heart so happy to learn that she has been read out. Yeah, she's mute, but she's still home and she gets reunited with Mo and Meggie. It made me happy. What else to say? I do like how Capricorn met his end and how Fingolio and Mo kind of came up with this idea of maybe the author, if the author writes other stuff, it can alter the book. And how that little idea changed things so that maybe when Meggie read The Shadow out of Inkheart, instead of having him wreak havoc, they can use him to take out Capricorn. And I gotta say, that was clever thinking on Mo's part to think of that idea, and then clever on Fingolio to kind of alter it and make it happen. So, very clever, very interesting, and I did kind of like how Meggie wasn't the one who read the final words to take out Capricorn. That was Mo. And I enjoyed that. Kind of like, Meggie has gone through a lot. She's only like, what, 12 or 13? And just having Mo come in at the last second to save her from having to kill someone, even indirectly. So, you know, him being the father that he is, being able to protect her from that kind of guilt. Not that taking care of Capricorn should result in that much guilt, but a lot of his life. And just, after reading this and then seeing the movie, it made me really wish that there was another kind of like companion story to this series. Like, I remember when I finished the series when I was a kid. And by kid, I mean like young teen. Just really wishing I could have read Inkheart as it was a book in the book, if that makes sense. Like, to read the actual Inkheart story that takes place in the Ink world, with Dustfinger, Capricorn, and everyone. I've always wanted to read that. Like, so damn bad. And rereading this and then seeing the movie, it made me want it even more. I don't know, maybe it's a thing and it just didn't get translated into English, because I believe this was originally in German. I don't know. If it is, I haven't heard of it. And just, God, I really want that right now. So, yeah. It's really all I have to say for Inkheart. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was a huge trip down memory lane for me. And I am excited to read the next book, Ink Spell. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.